Good morning. I'm Rich Wilkerson, and I want to welcome you today to this week's That's Rich. You know, quitting has always been a challenge for me. I hate quitting. Growing up in South Florida, my parents lived near a lake, and it was filled with gators and poisonous water moccasins. But us kids swam in it anyway. I had a teenaged friend at the end of my street who was known as the shark killer. I was 8. Every Friday night, he would go to the pier on the ocean and fish for sharks and would usually catch one. He would cut the jaw with the teeth in it out of the shark's mouth and sell each tooth for 25 cents at the high school on Mondays. One day, I asked him if I could borrow his plastic boat for the day. These plastic boats were probably 4 feet long and 3 feet wide, very popular. And you'd take a paddle with the little boat into the lake and just paddle around in it if you were a little kid. He loaned me the boat, but said to my buddy and me, "If you sink that boat, I'll kill you." Well, he killed sharks every Friday night, so we figured he was serious. That day, my little buddy and I went too far out in the lake and accidentally flipped the plastic boat. My friend grabbed the paddle and swam to shore. He said, "Rich, don't let go of the boat." The boat was in my hand underneath me, and I'm kicking and swimming with one hand, and I was sure I would drown or get, bitten by a moccasin. But I figured that would be better than facing the shark killer with no boat to hand back to him. My friend and Mr. Milam, the old man that owned the house in front of the lake, were on the beach cheering me on with much panic in their eyes. "Don't let go, don't let go. Hold on, son," Mr. Milam was screaming. Finally, I reached the shore, but got stuck in seaweed. By the way, that's where moccasins lived. So that I could stand, but I was trapped in the seaweed, and Mr. Milam reached the paddle in my direction, and I grabbed it, and he pulled me and the plastic boat over the weeds, and I didn't get bitten by one water moccasin. What a miracle. I laid on the beach for a minute, exhausted. Later, I took the plastic boat, the paddle, back to the shark killer and said thanks, and never went to his house again. Whew, I made it. I hate to quit. Why? Because I've learned in my life, and here's the wisdom thought for this week. It's always too soon to quit. Always. The best Bible verse on this thought is found in Galatians 6:9. And here's what St. Paul said. "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Wow. I've lived by that admonition my entire life. If I had let go of that plastic boat, you would have never heard of me because the shark killer would have taken me out. Moses was a never quitter as well. He barely even gets noticed in life until he was 80 years of age. Then he led his people of Israel out of over 400 years of Egyptian slavery. Before he knew it, he and almost 3 million Jews were standing at the Red Sea, and the Egyptian soldiers were right behind them. But he listened to God's voice and stepped into the water, and God split the water in two in order for the people to walk through. And when the Egyptians followed in to kill them, the Lord sent the walls of water over the top of the Egyptian army and buried them in the depths below. If Moses had quit too soon, he and his brother Aaron for sure would have been executed by Pharaoh, and the Israelites would have been sent back into slavery. But Moses knew it's always too soon to quit. Jesus was praying the night before his crucifixion, and his faith and his strength were beginning to fail him. He said in Matthew 28:39, going a little farther, he fell to his face and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, May this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will. Can you imagine God on earth at his lowest point was considering giving up because he knew what was coming? He said, Dad, is there a chance you could get me out of this? And of course, God the Father in heaven doesn't answer Jesus. And Jesus knew this was the only way. And he didn't walk away. He didn't give up. He didn't quit. Because Jesus knew it's always too soon to quit. What are you faced with today? Has the IRS just called? Has the doctor just called? Has the attorney just called? Have the police just called? Have you received a call from your son or daughter away at school? Are your hands shaking? Is your head spinning? Are you considering tossing in the towel? Is quitting the only thing that seems logical? Then I'm asking you today to just hold on. There's no shark killer waiting to take you out. Jesus is at the door. He's got you. Please, please, please remember, it's always too soon to quit. I'm praying for you today. God bless.